welcome to Bitesize Piano. In this video I'm going to go over some ways to help you practice piano, or any instrument for that matter, effectively. I'm excited to partner with Tomplay in today's video. I'm very excited about it, so keep watching to find out how you can make the most out of your practice time. So first of all, it needs to be said there is a difference between playing the piano and practicing the piano. So we practice to play the piano. So in order to get enjoyment out of playing the piano, you need to be able to utilize your practice time effectively, get the most out of it so you can enjoy not having to think about playing it and learning a piece of music thoroughly. Number one is try to allocate your practice time. Simple as that. So if you have a busy schedule, if you work a lot, or if you do lots of extracurricular activities, and if you're at school, try to allocate a time in the day that's your routine that you go and practice piano, even if it's 15 minutes a day, particularly if you're a beginner. So I used to do, when I was at school, I used to get up just an extra 10-15 minutes earlier, get my practice time in before I walked off to school for the day, and then it's done. Number two is quite obvious. Some of these points will be quite obvious, but hopefully it will resonate with many of you, is if you have a keyboard type instrument, keep it set up in a very prominent place in your home so it has pride of place. So this will encourage you to just go and sit at the piano. If you go and keep it locked away upright in a cupboard somewhere and only bring it out when you think you might do some practice, you're less likely going to actually practice. Whereas if it's already set up and it's a feature in your home, it's also a conversational piece as well. So remember, out of sight, out of mind. So the next point is to try to practice little and often. If you struggle to find time to practice, just doing maybe 2 15-minute sessions a day spread out is much better than trying to sludge away at the piano for 2 hours, and you might be tired, you might be hungry, you might be stressed, you just might not be in the right frame of mind, and after a while it just becomes a bit of a waste of time. So it's better to do really focused, concentrated practice sessions where you're focusing on one specific thing, and then maybe the next practice session you might focus on another thing. Which brings me on to my next point, concentrating on one section at a time. If you know you have a problem area in that piece of music, we all know what they are. You play a piece of music and then you go to that spot in the music and you do a little panic and it's not quite there yet, it doesn't quite match up to the standard that you're playing the rest of the song or the piece at. That should be a big fat sign to tell you to focus on that. An app that can really help with that is Tomplay. Tomplay is a sheet music app or website. They have a really extensive range of songs of lots of different genres, lots of different ability levels as well. You can also play along to a backing track, which could be orchestral. You could also play along with just the piano or the instrument of your choice. One of the many things that's great about Tomplay is that you can actually loop a section and play it on repeat at a slow speed over and over again. So this is something that's really effective. It counts you in every single time, and you can adjust the speed to the speed that you're comfortable playing it at. So that brings me on to my next point, using a metronome or a click track or a backing track to help aid with your practicing. So it's much more enjoyable to play along with a backing track. So Tomplay has an amazing array of songs and pieces with orchestral backing tracks, full beautifully ranged orchestral tracks, and it makes it that much more enjoyable and pleasurable to practice, and it won't even feel like you're practicing. The trick is to start very slow. So loop your section, start very slow, and concentrate on one bit at a time. If it's just the right hand, for example, that you need to focus on, just play the right hand part. Vice versa if it's the left hand part. So it's very important that your hands know what they're doing, hands separately, before you then go to loop it and repeat it hands together. There really is no secret of learning a piece of music really fast. It is just a matter of repeat, repeat, repeat. So repetition and discipline is the key to getting something to stick. So don't always practice the piece of music that you're trying to learn from the beginning. If you can already play the first page, for example, or the first section, just start practicing it from the next section that you're not as familiar with yet. And then when you feel like you have progressed with that somewhat, and then treat yourself and play it from the beginning and start to blend in those sections together. Once you have mastered it at one speed, bump it up a notch, so just a notch, and then try playing it at that speed and work in increments like that. So as a general guide, you could try to repeat it correctly 10 times. So that's not 10 times with mistakes, that's 10 times correctly, with correct rhythm, using the correct fingers and the correct notes. This focused, concentrated practice of just repetition is a much more efficient way for you to spend your practicing time instead of just playing it through over and over again. So you need to iron out, you can imagine ironing a crease out, you need to iron out that part of a piece of music so it blends in with how well you can play the rest of it. Also, playing to a metronome or a backing track forces you, kind of pressures you to make sure that you're reading ahead. In any instrument, when you're reading and playing at the same time, you always have to prepare for that next section. It's always playing a little bit, remembering that, but looking ahead, remembering that, playing that, looking ahead. And the more you get used to doing this, the better. So if a click track or a backing track is going to help you, it's not going to stop for you. It's not going to be lenient towards you. So it's up to you to make sure that you keep up with it. Even if you make a few mistakes along the way, it's really good practice just to try and keep going. If you imagine that you're part of that orchestra, you're part of that, you're in a piano concerto and the orchestra is behind you, they're not going to stop for you. It's up to you just to keep going. Great thing about Tomplay is the scrolling feature. So if you're playing along with the click track or the accompaniment, it will automatically scroll you onto the next line. So you don't have to mess around finding a place to very quickly turn the page, and it creates, a little bit of disruption to what you're playing and your concentration. So just let Tomplay do the scrolling for you and you just concentrate on your playing and practicing effectively. You can also set it so that you read one line at a time. I personally really enjoy this one. It's something I haven't experienced before because I'm so used to reading off sheet music. Or you can also practice it so you have a larger view, so you have maybe three lines at a time. But again, it scrolls for you. So another point, you should always make time to do warm-ups. If you're unsure about what warm-ups to do, if you know what piece or song that you're going to practice, find out what the key signature of that song is. For example, this one is in the key of E minor. You can do bespoke practices based on the key signature of the piece that you're going to play. It just gets you in the mindset and your fingers in the mindset of playing around a particular group of notes. So this is really, really helpful. So practice your scales, hands together up and down, practice the scale and contra motion, practice the arpeggios, practice the broken chords. There's lots of different ways you can really get in the mindset of a particular key signature, and it will just help you, navigate around those notes. And it's just a more bespoke way to get you in the mindset of playing around a certain set of notes that's in the piece that you're going to practice. And my final point is to use the same fingers every time you practice. This is so important. This is something I drill into my private students. If you're doing different fingers every single time and doing different movements every single time, you're not repeating the same process every single time. It's going to take you that a little bit longer to actually learn it thoroughly. So make sure, have the discipline to follow the exact right fingers every single time you play it. And if you don't like the fingers that are in there, change them, but make sure that you do the same fingers every single time you playing it, and be really ruthless about this. So there are my general tips on how to practice piano effectively and to utilize your time efficiently. If you are interested in checking out Tomplay, they have given you a free trial, and after that, if you want to continue, they'll give you 30% off a year's membership. So all you need to do is follow the instructions that I have left in the description below, enter the code, so Bitesize Piano 30 for your 30% off a year's membership. I've been so excited to partner with these, and it's a program, an app that I truly believe in. I've wrote a full article on Tomplay as well if you would like to know more, which I've also linked down below. So I hope that was useful, and I will see you in the next video. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and that it's useful. If you'd like to leave a piano tutorial request, you need to click on this video, which takes you through to my official request space. You do need to be subscribed. All requests are noted and considered, so I look forward to seeing you over there.